Assalomu alaykum, hurmatli talabalar. Bugun sizlar bilan O'zbekiston Milliy universiteti xorijiy filologiya fakulteti o'qituvchisi Jabborova Nazma Kamoliddinova boshlang'ich sinflarda chet tili o'qitish metodikasi fanidan 5-ma'ruzamni boshlayman. Ma'ruzamning mavzusi xorijiy tillarni o'qitishdagi metod va yondashuvlar. Keling, ma'ruzamni ingliz tilida olib borsam. The theme of the lecture: methods and approaches of English language teaching. There are so many methods of English language teaching. It started from the grammar translation method and finished with communicative language teaching. We will discuss about 5 of these methods. Let's start before discussing them about methods, answering to the question: what is teaching method, technique, strategy, and approach? Approach, it's one's viewpoint toward teaching. Technique, it's a personal art. And strategy, it's a result in plan. And method, it's a series of related and progressive acts performed by the teacher and students to achieve the objective of the lesson. We will discuss about 5 methods, principles, characteristics, and the other forms of the techniques to use this method. The first method, it's a GTM or grammar translation method. This method used in Germany at the end of the 18th century and became very popular in early years of 19th century. Application of this method used in Latin and Greek teaching of the modern languages. Only that languages can be taught with this method. Grammar translation method, it's a type of the method where students can only do the tasks, translation exercises and drills and learning by heart the list of vocabulary during the lesson. Classes conducted in native language. There is no target language. There is only the rules of the grammar and vocabulary lists to be learned. There is a little attention to the pronunciation and spoken form. The principle and characteristics of the grammar translation method: there is no attention paid to the content of the text. There is a little or no attention given to pronunciation or speaking. Classes usually taught in mother tongue. Vocabulary taught in the form of isolated word lists. There is no speech patterns or making long sentence. It's only vocabulary lists and verb lists, and this kind of just parts of language could be taught in this method. It's a very boring method, I think. The next method after the grammar translation method, they started teach with direct method. It's a wiser worse form of the GTM because there is no grammar. There is no rules. There is just starting speaking before just reading or writing. For example, if people go to foreign countries, they try to speak in this country's language easily because there is environment and every just parts of the sentence in this language. Target language is in the first is the same language, and new types of the students, immigrants, business people easily learn these foreign languages with this method. Direct methods principal characteristics: only use of the target language in class. There is no native language. There is no Uzbek language. Learners should be actively involved with using the language in realistic everyday situations. Students encouraged to think in the target language. As I mentioned before, first of all, you will speak, then you can read and write in this language. Direct method, grammar taught inductively. Then students should be speaking approximately 80% of the time during the lesson, and 20% teacher should talk during the lesson. Students are taught from inception to ask questions as well as answer to the questions also. Strategies using direct method. There are just many strategies, some of them given in this slide. It's a questioning and answering, eliciting, reading aloud, map drawing, or dictation. This kind of strategies can be used in direct method of teaching foreign languages. If we discuss about direct method background, it reaction against the translation method. Expert teachers are required. Most teachers like to teach this method. It's like a method where young children start to speak in some language. They don't know the grammar of the language, but they can speak in the language. You cannot teach them to some subject or object of the sentence, but they can tell it. Practice of speaking important, not useful for crowded classes. Usually in small classes, use it with this method. The next method it's just developed by James Escher. We call it a TPR, Total Physical Response. It's linked to the the theory of memory, which holds that the more often intensively memory connection is traced, stronger memory will be. There are 6 principles Escher elaborates about this method. One of them is just listening comprehension has been developed. Speech develops naturally, effortlessly out of it. In this method, usually you try to learn the language with the help of imperative mood. For example, teacher tells, okay students, open your books, read the books, come to the board, show me the picture of the bird, show me the just playing, or like this. Adults should use the right brain motor activities while the left hemisphere watches and learns. Second language learning is parallel to the first language learning and should reflect the same naturalistic process. Some of the objectives of the TPR: teaching oral proficiency at the beginning level, using action-based drills in the imperative form. TPR uses sentence-based grammatical syllabus. Ready sentence, ready just speech patterns could be given in the TPR method. And in this method, usually children listen and do the movement, like you come to the board, go to the just out, or after this, the pupil will understand the concept. You can just tell, they can do and show it. Sentences are repeated very times. Don't use the memory. After a few minutes, children do the movement on their own. Just try to show it how to do in this method. The next method, audiolingual method. This method, created in the mid-60s, it's just started use in the army. The second name of this method, army method. The background of this method based on principles of behavior psychology. It adapted many of the principles presage of the direct method. With the audiolingual method, usually you need to know the just how to understand. It's ready dialogues could be used in this method. Chunks of the words, chunks of the some ready sentence could be learned by heart with TPR. Mostly teacher focuses on pronunciation. Teacher can use the tapes and visual aids. Ready pictures, ready dialogue, just chunks could be given during the lesson. The next method is communicative language teaching method. Nowadays, most of our teachers use this method. Shortly, we call it CLT. The background of this method, it started the use in the late 70s. This method came after the audiolingual grammar translation method. And in this method, we use real-life situations during the lesson. It's a learner-centered method. The only target language could be used in this method. And they can simulate or imitate or show the role plays, and just spontaneously improvisation could be given with this method. It's very interesting method. Most teachers love this method because you can give for example, the topics like shopping, at the airport, at the doctor, and they can improvise during the lesson. Real life situations also could be very good in this method. Let's just summarize the lecture. Every method has their own just good side and just disadvantages. That's why, as a teacher, I can just recommend, try to find your own approach and method. Try to use them during the lessons. Every method is interesting if you use them in a right way, in a right lessons. About these methods, if you have any questions, you are always welcome, and you may write in my email, or on the bottom under the just YouTube channel, you may find my Telegram and YouTube channels address, and you may write your questions here. I can answer them after the lecture. Thank you for your attention. This is the fifth lecture about methods and approaches of language teaching.